welcome to The Beat Goes. I'm Rebecca.
And my name is Jack. In today's episode, we'll be discussing U2, Jim Marshall, the Beatles, the festival circuit, and many more. First up, we have U2. Woo! Because we love them. In a recent NME article, U2 are planning to spruce up their act and sell more records by enlisting One Direction's songwriters. One Direction's debut album, Up All Night, debuted at number 2 in the UK and number 1 in the US, making them the first ever UK group to achieve this. Bono and company is planning to emulate this success, but they've already had this success with it.
They've already been around for 35 years, writing their own stuff.
And pretty big in America, so what do they want?
Enlist a fluffy, second-rate, all about the image boy band songwriter, and to be quite frank, a crap songwriter at that. It's songs that are aimed at teen bopping girls going,
Hey, one of their songwriters is Kelly Clarkson.
I'm not a fan.
Hey. She writes a breakup ballad like nobody else.
This is true.
That woman's been hurt.
She has been. To the core. I think it's possibly a career-ending move. It could.
I think their career ended a while ago.
Well, aye, but fans are just going to stand back and go, Bono. What? What have you done?
If you're still U2's fan by now, then you're probably quite used to going Bono.
I like original U2, but as they went on, it was like, what are you doing? And if they do this, it'll just be, bye.
But I wouldn't. Because it's what makes
they don't need the money, so why?
I know, because we reported that a couple of weeks ago, was that
he was one of the most...
Bono's just bought Facebook and is now the most...
successful,
rich
money
is the word we're
man.
looking for. Richest rock star of all time.
Exactly.
So what's he doing it for?
I don't know.
I think it's just a midlife crisis style thing. Write your own songs, Bono.
Stop
Give
stealing
me the camera.
other
Look at me right now. Write your own songs, Bono. You've been doing it for long enough. You can do it again. Have a bit of confidence in yourself.
Have some self-respect.
Just because Spider-Man the musical failed spectacularly and you nearly killed half the cast. Write your own songs. Write about that. You've got lots to write about.
Respect. On respecting notes, the inventor of the Marshall amp, Jim Marshall, also known as the Lord of Loud, who founded Marshall Amplification in 1962, has recently passed on. The company was recognised as one of the key innovators in music equipment. Their guitar amps are completely legendary and are used by some of the greatest names in rock music to date, including me. I'm not one of the greatest names, but I do use them.
Ego?
Do you have an opinion? Yes, I do have an ego. Do you have an opinion on the death of Jim Marshall? Do you know who Jim Marshall is, my dear?
He invented the amp, it said on the auto cue.
As long as you can read the auto cue and knows it, it's fine.
At the end of the day, I feel bad that he's died, but it's an amp.
A fantastic amp.
Other amps out there.
I don't care. It's one of the best amps.
There will be other amps created.
Yeah, but have they made the amp into a fridge?
Probably. Somewhere.
I think that's amazing.
Not that that's relevant in any way to the amp, but it's an amp. And if there was a world, if we lived in a world that there was no
Marshall amp,
so
you can't even remember.
Then we'd all still use an amp. We'd just use a different amp. It's an amp.
Right. Before Jack goes off on one, British rappers, please discuss.
British rapper example reckons that the UK festival circuit is struggling due to bad promotion, bad security and bad locations. This comment came just days after the Sonosphere Festival's cancellation announcement a couple of weeks ago.
I will miss Sonosphere.
We know that you're a big fan of the Sonosphere thing. I've never heard of Sonosphere.
I'm very sad. I go every year, and one of the main reasons I can't go this year, apart from its cancellation, which is...
Apart from that one,
the biggest and most obvious one, the fact that it's not on, is the fact that I am not paying 170 quid for 3 days camping. I'm not doing it.
It's a ridiculous amount of money, to be honest.
Especially in a recession, and I'm a student.
Well, yeah, I think that examples probably got a fair point as far as marketing is concerned with the smaller gigs, but it's about the recession. It's about the fact that we have no money.
Nobody has the money to spend on that. And, I mean... Some of the locations
in England and Wales are now having to pay £10,000 a year for
They're not going to spend 170.
They're not going to be able to spend that money on what they used to be able to spend the money on. You also have
to question the locations, because I mean, a lot of people, including my own mother, call tea in the park tea in the mud for a reason.
I know, it's disgusting.
It's 3 to 5 days of mud, blood and beer.
I'd rather stay in a hotel.
Jack would rather have a lovely premiere in with a shower.
I'm not into the whole festival
mud, blood and
thing.
beer.
No.
So I think it's dying on its feet for various reasons, but it's still sad. It's very sad. I do like my festival. But in other news, we'll move on. An interview with the BBC, Paul McCartney's son James said that he and the other sons of the Fab Four could pay tribute to their dads by creating a second generation incarnation of the group to record an album and then tour. He's discussed this with Sean Lennon, Danny Harrison and Zach Starkey, whom are all established musicians in their own right. I have to point that out, in their own right, okay? Because many people think, oh, they're just taking the fame from their dads. Your opinion on...
Well, they are taking the fame from their dads. Don't be ridiculous and say that they're not. They probably
are
wouldn't
still
have even got a
established.
deal in the first place if it hadn't been for their dads. Thing is that they've actually done something with it and they've made something of themselves. They're not particularly successful. They're not
Or well-known.
particularly high profile. But
They're not
they
the
do
first
have
and last to do it.
some talent there. If they're doing a whole
Tour and
a tribute thing, fine. Everybody's covered Beatles. Surely they've got more right to cover the Beatles than anybody else because they're actually from the same stock, and it means a lot more to them than it probably means to a lot of other people.
But would people prefer to see their own music rather than just rejigged versions of their
Probably,
father?
but there's the strong possibility that it's not their decision. There's a strong possibility that
It's the
their
marketeers behind them.
marketing company that's making them do that. So, you've got to do what you've got to do. The music industry is not a fun place to be at the moment. There's not enough money in it as it is. You do what you've got to do.
You do.
Speaking of the music industry, and I turn up for the books this one, 26-year-old Canadian singer Carly Rae Jepsen is at the top of the official UK singles chart with her debut single Call Me Maybe. The track sold nearly 107,000 copies in its first week to become the second fastest selling UK #1 of the year so far.
It is fantastic.
I
could
love
have it
it.
stuck in my head all day. It's so unbelievably
It's so
catchy.
bloody catchy.
It just is.
And it's actually a really well written, beyond the fact that it's catchy, because there's a lot of really annoying songs that are catchy. It's actually a really well written song.
Yeah. So really, there's a lot of kind of catchy songs out there that you just sing or dance along to because they're fun and fluffy and stuff. But it's a song that a lot of people can go, I actually like what she's saying in that song.
Yeah, and it's replaced Chris Brown, which for me is always a good thing at the #1 spot, because I don't think Chris Brown should ever be at #1.
I think Chris
For-
Brown should just not be
Turn up
seen.
the music because I'm beating up Rihanna. Oh, sorry, it's just turn up the music. It also shows, Carly Rae Jepsen's song, that the radio has still got a lot of power in the music industry.
Which is a good thing.
Because Scott Mills was the one that discovered Carly Rae Jepsen and started championing her over here, and if it wasn't for him, then the build-up wouldn't have been on the radio, and she would never have got into the charts in the first place. So I like the fact that it shows that radio is not dead.
Which is good. I mean, you've got your internet radio stuff and things like that, but I personally like shoving the radio on in the car. Do you know what I mean? Because you hear loads of people, you hear new artists all the time, and you think, oh, I like them, and you go listen to them, and eventually, in my case, buy their albums and things like that. Do you know what I mean? I know it's not the same thing, but that's the only way that I heard of Lana Del Rey.
Yeah.
Was on the radio. Do you know? So it's a good thing that the radio still has that kind of power. But Rock Ness was recently crowned the best small festival at the last NME Awards, and they've recently announced the first phase of their lineup, which include Mumford & Sons, Ed Sheeran, Deadmau5, Justice and Friendly Fires. And the festival will take place near Inverness on the 8th to the 10th of June. I go to Rock Ness nearly every year because I think as a festival it's cute. It's small and it has the same sort of range of acts every year. It's reliable. But Jack has a very, very different opinion of this festival than I do.
Well, I don't like festivals in general. As we've already discussed earlier, I just think that they're a
He's never
complete
been?
waste of money. I've never been to a festival. I don't want to go to a festival. But Rock Ness for me has always just given me this image of junked up moshers that jump about to hardcore heavy metal music, and it's just never appealed to me in the slightest. And I don't understand why people would want to spend that kind of money. And is it not quite full of a younger crowd compared to most other festivals?
Yes, but
Which I don't think is a selling point by any stretch of the imagination if it's going to be full of 16-year-olds with BO and
on a separate
long
note, do
hair
I
that they're
look
going
like
to
a
whip me in
jumped
the
up mosher?
face.
Please tell me, because I go every year. So I'm just going to sit and argue with you on that one, Jack. But no, it's not really a younger crowd. Not really. There's a lot of there's a lot of couples that go that are in
The only people I know that have
20s
ever
and
been to Rock
30s.
Ness were 16.
It's
And that was
also
a
a lot of the
16-year-olds.
reason that younger people do go is because it's not got the whole 18 and over rule, which many gigs now do because of the booze that flies around and things like that, and the other things that fly around these things. But as a festival, I think it's good.
Well, sure, that's a negative then. If there's drugs and stuff and alcohol and they're just letting anybody walk into it.
That's another topic. We'll argue that later.
She doesn't have a response to
I
that
don't.
one.
I don't have an argument for that.
Female pop group Girls Aloud member Cheryl Cole is going to drop her surname for the sake of her career. Joining the likes of Madonna, Rihanna and Beyonce, the English singer will be known simply as Cheryl. What do you think of this? I'm not the biggest fan of this idea. I don't think it's the best career move for her in the world. She's already established as Cheryl Cole. Keep
She's
it the way
known
it
as
is.
Cheryl
And
Cole.
the thing about Beyonce is that Beyonce became Beyonce rather than Beyonce Knowles through hard graft and fame. She didn't just get to be known as one name. Christina Aguilera is now known as, if you say Christina, Britney Spears, Britney, because they've worked very hard for 10, 15 years at their careers.
Yep. She still has
She's not
quite
really
a way.
earned it.
No, she's got a way before she earns the respect, I'd say, to have the single name. I don't know. I think it comes from, like you say, a lot of hard graft and a lot of, in Britney's case, a lot of kind of ridicule that's gone along with it. A lot of things, a lot of people.
Well, I think Britney Spears has grafted just as hard
Yeah,
as
but
anybody
what I'm
else.
saying is that she's taken a lot of stick for the things she's been through and a lot of the things she's done, which gains her the respect in the music world, I think, personally. And I don't think Cheryl Cole quite has the ability yet to say that she's well known enough and well respected enough to kind of go, look, I can have one name. Plus, I mean, it may have connotations of being linked to the idiot that is Ashley Cole, one of the worst examples of a man on the planet next to Chris Brown. But that's just me. But it's not a career-defining move at the moment, I don't think.
No, I think that if you're starting to build yourself a profile, especially in the States, keep it the way it is.
Don't change the status quo. Just don't do it. But in other news, a recent interview with American rapper B.O.B. said that there was an explosion of kind of artists moving from the UK into the States, from Adele to Jessie J to One Direction. I mean, it's growing tremendously. And The Wanted, Florence and the Machines and things like that, they're beginning to kind of get widespread fame, including in the States. And I think for their careers, it's a phenomenal move. It's a brilliant idea to break the States. And if you do it well, you're pretty much defined for life. Do you think I'm right in that statement?
Well, I think that it's a big achievement, and I think that it's showing that British music is just as good as anything else that's out there in the world. And I think that it's a milestone in your careers and stuff. And yeah, I do agree. I think that it's a very big deal, and I'm very proud of the fact that British music's making it out there in the world.
Yeah, because, I mean, constantly for years people were punting really big American stars. And now that kind of British pop music and British rock music's making its way further into the world, shows that we're not second rate, really.
It does all go round in circles, though, and we've got to remember this, that
Yeah,
for a while Britain takes over and then America comes back. It's just the flow the way it's gone, 60s, 80s.
Exactly.
No.
But that about wraps it up for the 4th episode of And The Beat Goes. So please check out our website, atbg.co.uk, and our Facebook page. Please like it if you can. Facebook page, facebook.com/atbg online. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Jack. Tune in a couple of weeks for our next instalment.
Hello, sweeties. Are these on? Are you getting that? Okay. Hi, I'm Sasha.
Hi, Sasha.
Hello.
What are you going to sing for us today?
Can I introduce Peter first? Is that okay with you?
You mind?
I've not just brought him on the show for nothing, you know what I mean? He does backup dancing when I'm singing.
Just do what you got to do.
Thank you. I'm going to do a short excerpt of a Whitney number. I'm on every woman, it's all in me. Do 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 do. Oh, 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 ooh, oh. Thank you.
Judges?
Gareth, what do you think?
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Oh, that's harsh, Gareth.
Stop stealing my bras and stuffing them. It's insulting.
Sweetie, look great on me. Come on, look at that.
What the hell was that?
I'm sorry, Vince, baby. I try my hardest. I mean, I'll talk to you later on tonight when we're having
Whoa!
talk.
That was between me and you.
Sorry.
He's letting things out now.
Between me and you and Panda Peter. Ooh.
Hi, Panda.
I'm really creeped out right now.
That's the fucking weirdest thing I've ever seen, man.
Seconded.
Yeah. Do we pass on him or what, guys?
Passing and Peter.
Can I give my opinion in a physical show of my answer?
Sure.
That's
Yeah, I'm gone too.
No!
Can you take the trousers off?
You want me to take my trousers off, Gareth? Would that give me a shot?
Yeah. Turn around.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a creepy now, guys. Come on.